Good morning to all. I am Prof.Manavalam. Now we are going to see the continuation of implantation, that is development of placenta. The placenta is a disc-shaped organ which providing a sole physical link between the mother as well as fetus. During the time of pregnancy, the placenta grows and provide ever larger surface area for maternal-fetal exchange. At term, the placenta it weighs almost 500 kg and also it has the diameter of 15 to 20 cm, thickness of 2 to 3 cm and a surface area almost 15 meters square. Next we will move on to the development of placenta. The chorionic villi, this is the basic structural unit of the placenta. From this chorionic villi only, the placenta it is further getting developed. The placenta, when after the process of implantation get over, next step is formation of chorionic villi and placental development. It starts from the first week to end with 10 to 12 weeks time period it takes. After 10th week, the placenta is fully getting developed and it starts to do its function. The villi, it is nothing but it is a vascular projection of fetal tissue. It is surrounded by the chorion, or otherwise it is called as a finger-like projection. So there are three types of villi: primary villi, secondary villi and tertiary villi. First we will see the structure of embedded embryo. So the first layer is called as the light blue layer is called as a syncytiotropoblast. The inner dark blue layer is called as a cytotrophoblast. Inside that the pink layer is called as a extraembryonic mesoderm. Inside that the chorionic plate is there. Inside the chorionic plate there is two structure, yellow and white structure. The white structure is becoming as a amniotic membrane and amniotic cavity. The yellow it is becoming as a embryo. Later it is developing as a fetus. So between this embryonic, the center embryonic and embryonic structure to the chorionic plate, there is a connection. That connection, that pink color connection is that connection later it is developing as a umbilical cord. So first we will see how the primary villi is getting developed. After invasion of the syncytiotropoblast into the endometrial epithelium, first it is forming like a finger-like structure. First the primary villi is forming. The cytotrophoblast it is entering into the syncytiotropoblast like a finger-like structure. The cells enter into like a finger-like structure, that is the cytotrophoblast. It is developing as a primary chorionic villi. Next, the secondary chorionic villi. The pink color extraembryonic mesoderm. It is developing as a finger-like structure inside to the cytotropoblastic layer. So that is called as a secondary chorionic villi. Next, third the blood vessel, extra blood vessels and the chorionic plate. The chorionic plate which will be enter and forming as a the tertiary layers. In this chorionic villi, the fetal blood vessels which will be running. Meanwhile, while developing the placenta as a primary, secondary chorionic villi, inside the inner cell mass it is developing as a amniotic cavity as well as developing as a fetus. The connection between the chorionic plate to the fetus, that the connections stop, later developing as a umbilical cord. Later it is developing as a umbilical cord. It has the umbilical arteries and umbilical vein in it. This umbilical artery and umbilical vein is branched out through the chorionic plate into the villi. It enters into the chorionic villi. The structure in between the chorionic villi, that the space in between the chorionic villi is called as a intervillous space. That space is called as a intervillous space. Some of this villi, it is entering and going beyond the sincere trophoblast and anchoring in the decidua basalis, then it is called as an anchoring villi. Some of the villi, it is not attaching with the basalis, that villi is called as a floating villi or free villi. This is about the formation of primary, secondary and tertiary villi. Next, this is the term placental structure. So here the chorionic plate, the third, it is forming as a base for development of placenta. So this, from which part of the chorionic plate the villi which will be getting forming, that part is called as a chorion prontosum. That part is called as a chorion prontosum. It is called as a, it is distributing fetal part of the placenta. It is distributing the fetal part of the placenta. The remaining, the chorionic plate where it doesn't have any chorionic villi is called as a chorionic leaf. So from the maternal side, the decidua basalis is forming as a maternal surface of the placenta. It is contributing for the part of maternal surface of the placenta. The placenta is a structure, temporary structure. It is main structure for blood supply as well as nutrient supply to the fetus. So how the blood supply which will be taking place in the placenta in a two way, through fetal circulation and maternal circulation. So how the maternal circulation is happening means through endometrial vein and endometrial arteries. These arteries, it is eroding into the decidua basalis and it is enter like a spiral structure. It is enter like a spiral structure into the intervillous space and pouring the blood like a fountain. It is pouring blood like a fountain. So that is called as a maternal circulation. Next, fetal. Maternal circulation, mostly it is supplying the nutrients which is needed for the fetus. At the same time, it is supplying the oxygenated blood. Most of the endometrial arteries, it is supplying the oxygenated blood into the intervillous space. From the intervillous space, the blood which will be enters into the chorionic villi. From the in the chorionic villi, the umbilical vein is taking the oxygenated blood into the fetus. At the same time, through fetal circulation, the deoxygenated blood which will be carried through the umbilical arteries and enters into the chorionic villi. From this chorionic villi, it will be enters into the intervillous space by simple diffusion. From the intervillous space, the deoxygenated blood and waste material collected by the endometrial veins and it is enters into the maternal circulation for oxygenation. This is how the placental circulation which will be happening. That's all about the placental development and circulation. Thank you.